Kerry, of course, All-Star Weekend was over the weekend. There was a lot of NBA stories going. We got the NFL is kind of, dying down a little bit. Of course, there will be some off-season moves and some stories. But NBA is a lot going on, and a lot of conversations and questions were asked. You got the sit-downs with folks. Rob G, Giannis, Greek Freak, did a little sit-down with Malika Andrews and had some things to say.
Yeah, it's funny that this sound is kind of making his rounds again, considering earlier on Tuesday, ESPN's Dave McMenamin put out a long piece about the Lakers and why they had a quiet trade deadline. And according to him and his sources, the biggest reason is because they want to go big game hunting this offseason, and they believe that they have a legitimate chance to get Giannis in the purple and gold this offseason. What's interesting about that is that, of course, Lakers think that, but number two, Giannis just did an interview with Malika Andrews that you mentioned, and I think he's committed to Milwaukee. Take a listen.
You're not okay with staying in Milwaukee and never having that feeling?
No.
Yeah.
I want to win, but the most important thing, I want to win a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks. And if that's not on the table or in the plans, so that's when you kind of like, okay, maybe I got to pivot because I really want to win.
Kerry.
I'm shaking my head. Go ahead, Kerry.
Let me just I've been saying this for months now. Me and Rob get into this all the time. Even Rob, it's so real, I got Rob to come on my side.
Oh, what?
And then he went back to Giannis last week or two. Rob G, remember that? What did he go back for? I don't even remember what he went. Oh, he actually believed Giannis because of something he said like a week or two ago. Let me break this down for you, Kerry.
Tell me.
You ever been in a relationship and you like her? And you know, everything was going good. In fact, it might have been going really good at one point. A la Giannis and the Bucks and championship, you won one. But now, you're starting to enjoy things out there. They starting to
Why you looking
reach
around?
out to you.
Why you looking around?
Because you're starting to look around. And in Giannis' terms, what did he say? I like being a baddie. I like being a hottie. He said that. He literally said, I like being a baddie, being courted. People are, that feeling. Everybody knows that feeling when you're wanted.
Yeah.
He never fully said he didn't want to, explore trades. We get all the reports during the offseason that they were looking at the Knicks. And then during the season, or go back a season ago, he gets Adrian Griffin fired. They bring in Doc Rivers. He's making a fuss, so they bring in Dame Lillard. That doesn't work out. He wants this person out. All of this has been going on over the last couple of years where Giannis, to me, Kerry, is not equipped to be the bad guy. He doesn't fully want to be the bad guy. He doesn't fully want to break it off. He wants to keep, if you want to go, we can keep going. I mean, I'm happy if you're happy, but I'm not really happy. But I mean, we can keep trying to. He doesn't want to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to look at the camera and say, I'm ready to move on. I've given it my all. We've won a championship. It's been 12 years. I'm ready to try something new. And I think it's a great time for us to break up amicably. He doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to be perceived that way. And I think he's gotten used to, and I can relate to this. Maybe you can. You're used to being the nice guy, used to being liked, that it's hard to then be the bad guy, to be the villain, for people to have a negative opinions on you.
100%.
Everybody's not built like that, Kerry. Some people, Kobe didn't give a dang.
Yeah.
Kobe could care less. LeBron's not really built like he tries it, the black hat, and it didn't work out in Miami.
Yeah.
And I think Milwaukee is better served at a certain point to say, this is the time to blow it up. And you know why? Kerry, on the court, it hasn't worked out where we have one of the best players in the league and we keep competing for championships or at least getting there or at least getting the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
3 first-round exits in a row with Giannis. So with Dame one of those years, and Dame obviously was hurt too, but my point is this is a great time for them to blow it up, to get a trade in the offseason, whatever they can, get a bunch of picks and say we're going to spend the next couple of years getting it right and starting to become the Detroit Pistons. Trying to be what the Celtics were 7-8 years ago when they got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart and they got really good.
Yeah.
Being with OKC, they draft a bunch of guys and get young, get hungry, and become that. Go back 12 years or so and be what the Warriors were, right? We get Clay, Steph, Draymond, we get Harrison Barnes, we got these young guys, we got something cooking. And if you're the Bucks, that to me is the game plan. Let Giannis go pair it with somebody. Maybe it's Luka, maybe it's somewhere else. But for them, they got to move on. And Giannis has to be okay with being the bad guy.
And Kelvin, you know what? That's the perfect analogy for what's going on. He doesn't want to be the bad guy. And you know who I fault for that? I actually fault us for that, the way we cover the game, the way we cover our stars, right? We say if they request to leave the building, they're the bad guy, right? I think I kind of liken this to Damian Lillard, right? In Portland, he kept going at it, kept fighting. He probably wasn't going to leave, and I don't think he had any ideas of that. But I know underneath there's a competitive fire in Dame Lillard where he wanted to go somewhere and win. He just didn't want to be the one in front of the camera saying that. I think that's the same thing with Giannis here. Because we can see how frustrated he is. We can see now that playing with some of these guys that he's playing with, there is no real rapport. He's going out there and getting his numbers, but that team, the way they're constructed, is not going to win. Then the pieces that they've added, they tried to replace Lopez with Miles Turner. Seems like a lateral move. They're similar players, but it just doesn't fit that way anymore. And I think for them to be competitive in the East, they're going to have to blow it up. And I think he's going to get what he wants. Milwaukee has to move off of him. They have to go out and they have to start to rebuild. Get ready to build this statue and take care of him after the fact. But right now, the way they're constructed, they're not going to win. And you hit the nail on the head. He doesn't want to be the bad guy. I think we can see that. I think it's very clear to see it.
He doesn't. And again, not everybody's comfortable with that. So a lot of people are. They're hey, this is where I am. And there is an element. You brought up Damian Lillard. He is from the Bay Area. One of the phrases they have, like, loyal to the soil. And there's that. I want, if I got to get it the hard way, then I'll get it the hard way.
Out the mud.
A lot of people always say, what would Kevin Garnett have looked like if he left a little earlier? He was, remember that epic interview? John Thompson, God bless the dead, interviewed him, and KG looks at, he's like, I'm losing.
Yeah.
And he starts crying. He's like, I'm losing. And he kept going, and he kept going. And guys like that are so loyal, and they want to. And I get it. I respect. That's probably, honestly, how I would be.
100% sure.
I just want to keep trying with my guys. Keep trying with my guys. All right, now we're going to get it this time, Kerry. Here we go, Kerry. and eventually it's like, all right, maybe it's not working, especially, and I do think it's a difference, if your organization isn't doing right by you. And to be fair, I don't believe that's the case with the Bucks. I believe they try. You want Dame? Let's go get Dame.
Yeah.
You don't want Doc? You want to go get Doc? We got Doc. Adrian Griffin, who had been being successful throughout that portion of the year.
Yeah.
You got to go. You want your brother back? Go get Giannis. Like, they've tried their best, all things considered. So I don't think they're out there half blanking it.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, it's okay for a clean breakup. And I think, to your point, if there's anyone that we all can look and say, as a professional athlete, gave it his all, blood, sweat, tears, laid it out there, was great to the city, was great to see this deer of an athlete who didn't know what he was doing, he had to get trained and learn the game, become a star, MVP, superstar. This was the one guy who could break up, and we all would go, you know what? He deserves to try something new.
And Kelvin,
he's the one guy.
Yeah, and Kelvin, the other part of this story, stop letting your players pick other players to pair with in situations to try to win. A lot of times when players are picking players they want to play with, these are people they admire or people they have a relationship with. It doesn't mean it's going to be the perfect fit for that team. And so I think that's the other part of it. I mean, I know you want to consult with them. If they're your stars, you want them to be happy, which you just stated with Milwaukee and these other franchises that do that. But I've noticed that a lot of players don't pick the right players to play with that fits the full team. Now, they may fit them. And you think about a pick-and-roll situation with Dame Lillard and Giannis, seems like it's a no-brainer, right? That doesn't mean it fits the full team and the identity of your team. So I think that's the other part of it for me as well.
Well, you got to have a GM who can say, hey, I feel you in that.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking is this grade's better because he does X, Y, and Z. He doesn't need the ball quite as much as Dame. You need the ball a lot.
Yes.
This could work better over here.
Right.
Or actually, I know this seems like he's the better player, but we believe he's getting injury prone. He's a little older. Let's pair you up with these two younger guys.
Right.
You got to have a great GM, and that also comes with trust, right?
Yes.
Trust in, hey, we got what's best for you in this organization. And trust that we're building it the right way, and we can duplicate what we did a handful of years ago and win the championship again. But to me, I've said it before, as great as Giannis is, as disappointing as the Eastern Conference has been for years now, I'm blown away that him leading a team, you can't do it alone, but him leading a team with some other guys, he's had players that he hasn't had a deep Eastern Conference playoff run where I'm not saying he gets to the finals every year.
Yeah.
But say it's a 6-year span, Kerry, where he went to a couple finals, won one, and went to 2 other Eastern Conference finals. Kind of how the Celtics had it for some years before they finally broke through. They went to a finals, lost to the Warriors, came back and won, but they had gone to the Eastern Conference for a few years.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that he's the most dominant player in that conference, by far, MVP candidate yearly, and is out the first round regularly, maybe the second round, and we're just all kind of like, yeah, I don't know. That's normal.
Well, Kel, he's been bailed out because Boston's been a powerhouse in that span with him pretty much with the two stars that you just talked about, right? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, right? So I think the deflection of them two kind of failing, even though they had long runs and not getting it done, I think that kind of was a little blanket for him. I think he can go out, and the one that he won was so glorious and such a big one that I think it kind of gets swept under the rug.
All right, Rob, so they're watching us right now, which means another thing they can do is what?
They can subscribe. All you got to do is hit that button, subscribe to The Odd Couple for some of the best sports talk content in the nation.
Facts, and while you're at it, they can like, they can comment, they can share. Do all that for us. We appreciate it. Just do all that right up in here.